Hello YouTube, my name is Nero and today we have some Call of Duty Black Ops 3 and it is finally time, ladies and gentlemen, to give Black Ops 3 its final report card. So I do this just about every single year. What I do is, once a Call of Duty game comes to the end of its life cycle, I give it a report card. I assign grades based on the old American grading system of A, B, C, D, and F. And if you guys don't know that system, A is excellent, it's the best you can do, B is above average, C is average, D is below average, and F is failing. I assign grades using that system to various aspects of the game. In this video in particular, we will be covering maps, gun balance, score streaks, spawn system, downloadable content, replay value, and a couple of other smaller categories. And the whole point is just to have some fun, kick back, and just discuss the game as a whole, the totality of Black Ops 3, and discuss whether or not it was a good game and what the legacy of the game may be going forward. Now, before we go any further, I would like to say, rest in peace, Black Ops 3. The life cycle does end tomorrow when Infinite Warfare and Modern Warfare Remastered come out, which is kind of sad, right? Every single year, it feels so weird to see a Call of Duty game's life cycle just end like that, have a new game come out. Like, it doesn't feel like Black Ops 3 is an old game, but starting tomorrow night at midnight, it's going to be the old game, and that's really weird to me. Also, I would like to ask you guys for a little bit of participation. So, if you guys could for me, if you enjoyed Black Ops 3, if your overall takeaway of the game was a positive one, if you enjoyed Black Ops 3 for the most part, please leave a like on this video. Alternatively, if you did not enjoy Black Ops 3, if it was a game that you did not have a lot of fun with, if your overall takeaway was a negative takeaway, please leave a dislike on this video. I think it's going to be interesting to see the likes versus dislikes on this video, and without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the report card. Let's go ahead and start with the first category, which is going to be maps. How were the maps here in Call of Duty Black Ops 3, especially compared to previous Call of Duty games? I would say they were pretty above average by default. I feel as though it's important to remember that the Black Ops 3 maps were built and designed to work with their movement system. Of course, Black Ops 3 was the second game to feature advanced movement, although it's definitely a lot different than Advanced Warfare. It's different than Infinite Warfare. It's its own game, basically, and all the maps are kind of built to work with that. I think we had a number of great maps in this game. We had Aquarium, we had Combine, we had Fringe, and we had Hunted. I think all of these are very, very good maps, but at the same time, there were some pretty bad maps as well. I don't think really anybody liked to play on Exodus. I don't think a lot of people like to play on Havoc. I don't think anybody liked to play on Redwood. I loved how Redwood looked, but I hated how it played. I did not enjoy playing on that map whatsoever. So there are definitely some really good maps and definitely some pretty bad ones, but I would say overall, most of the maps in this game were pretty good. I think they were enjoyable. Now, you may be wondering about DLC maps. We're not going to be talking about DLC maps in this particular category. We're going to be talking about that during the downloadable content portion of the video, so stay tuned for that. But by default, the standard maps that we got with the game, including Nuketown with a 3, I would say they were all pretty good. I'm going to give a B+ to the maps in this game because they were all pretty fun. There were only a couple of maps that would actually leave the lobby if they were to show up, and those maps, once again, were Exodus, Havoc, as well as Redwood. I did not like playing on those 3 maps. Next up, we're going to be discussing weapon balance, which is one of the things that really makes or breaks a Call of Duty game. Weapon balance is very difficult to actually achieve. Perfect weapon balance, I think, is nigh impossible to achieve in an online game like Call of Duty, though Treyarch worked really hard to try to make sure that the balance was good this year, and how they did that is they were constantly changing weapons. Now, I feel as though we as consumers don't really quite understand how difficult it is to actually make a game balanced in terms of its weaponry. If you nerf one weapon, suddenly that is going to increase the value of other weapons. We saw that a number of times here in the Black Ops 3 lifecycle. One weapon would get nerfed, and as a result, this other weapon, which wasn't nerfed, is suddenly the best gun in the game. A number of weapons were changed throughout the entirety of the lifecycle. We had the Kuda changed a number of times. We had the VMP changed. The Vesper has been changed several times. The M8A7. We've seen the Gorgon. When the game first came out, the Gorgon was considered one of the most overpowered guns in the game, and now it's just a gun that people have to use to get dark matter. They changed the weapons around a lot, and as a result, I think that the weapon balance in Black Ops 3 was pretty good for the most part throughout the game's life cycle. Now, keep in mind, this is coming from my perspective, and I am somebody who plays nothing but respawn game modes. I play Ground War, I play Domination, Kill Confirm, Fracture, I play respawn modes. I understand that in competitive, as well as Search and Destroy, the OP weapons, quote-unquote, are a lot more prevalent. You're going to see a lot more people using XR2s, a lot more people using M8A7s, or the VMP, but that's just the very nature of competitive / search and destroy. I mean, back in Call of Duty 4, you saw only 2 weapons while playing competitive or search and destroy, and it's like that in every single Call of Duty game, and Black Ops 3 was no different. Overall, I think the gun balance in Black Ops 3 would be an A. I honestly honestly feel as though it was good. And I think a big part of that would be dark matter camo, and dark matter is something we could talk about later on with replay value, but I feel as though dark matter camo really got people trying out a lot of different weapons, and as a result, every weapon was pretty much viable. Some of them were bad. The Haymaker was terrible. I hated using that thing. No fun whatsoever. But for the most part, the weapon balance here in Black Ops 3 was pretty freaking good, and that's coming from somebody who has dark matter. I'm not somebody who just uses, one of 5 weapons and then just calls it done and says the game is good. I have completed every challenge for every weapon in the game, with the exception of a couple of the ones that were locked behind supply drops, right? I have dark matter. I played the game a bunch. I think weapon balance is pretty good. Sure, again, there are some bad ones and there are some really good ones, but for the most part, weapon balance in Black Ops 3 pretty freaking good, and that is why I am giving it an A. Next up, we are going to be talking about score streaks. So score streaks in Black Ops 3 were pretty good in my opinion. I found them to be, for the most part, very powerful and rewarding. Whether I wanted to run the classic UAV counter UAV setup, or maybe the Hellstorm lightning strike setup, or maybe if I wanted to go for bigger streaks like the Cerberus, the Wrath, the Raps, the GI units, stuff like that, whatever I wanted to do, I felt rewarded when I used my kill streaks. That is one of the biggest sins, in my opinion, for a Call of Duty game, is when they have their kill streaks be boring. One of the best things about Call of Duty would be the score streak system, or the kill streak system, depending on the game. That is one of the things that actually separates Call of Duty from other games. And when you get these kill streaks, you should feel rewarded. They should do a thing. They should be powerful. I think Modern Warfare 3 was a great example of a game where you would get these big kill streaks and they would do nothing. The AC-130 was terrible in that game as compared to the Modern Warfare 2 version. And so when Black Ops 3 came out, I was very happy to see that the kill streaks in this game are very powerful. Again, if I wanted to go low streaks and run Hellstorm and Lightning Strike, I'd get a lot of kills with my Hellstorm and my Lightning Strike. But if I wanted to run bigger kill streaks like the Cerberus or the Wrath, those things would generally get a bunch of kills, and it was fun to see that happen. Now, I will say that the score streak system, as with all score streak systems, when you actually go off of score and not kill streaks, it's not exactly balanced for all game modes, and that is definitely a big problem. In Search and Destroy, it's pretty difficult to earn your score streaks, and in game modes like Fracture, it's ridiculously easy to earn your score streaks. If you look at something like Safeguard after they nerfed it, it's pretty difficult to get score streaks, and as a result, they're kind of a non-factor. Same thing kind of goes for Team Deathmatch, although not nearly as much as Safeguard. So in that respect, I'm going to be giving score streaks a B, and the reason why is it wasn't exactly perfectly tuned, in my opinion, for all game modes. While they were fun and they were rewarding, certain game modes, it was just simply too hard to get your score streaks, and as a result, I can't give it an A, so I'm going to drop it down to a B. If they were just to simply rework it, especially in Safeguard and Team Deathmatch, I think it would be better for everybody involved. Next up, let's discuss the spawn system here in Black Ops 3, which I will describe as predictable chaos. And the reason why I use the term predictable chaos is it's very chaotic, very sporadic. These spawns are constantly flipping, and oftentimes I'm sitting here wondering, why am I spawning here and why are they spawning there? It makes no sense. We were playing domination, right? We have C and B, but you're spawning me at A. Why did you spawn me on their flag? Or we're playing Team Deathmatch. I spawn in, I die. Now suddenly I'm spawning in on the complete opposite end of the map. It's like, why is this happening? This makes no sense. In my opinion, the spawn system was perfect in Call of Duty back in the original Black Ops, Modern Warfare 2, Call of Duty 4, as well as World at War. Of course, there were going to be some bad spawns, but for the most part, there was this invisible line in the sand where it's like, this is our portion of the map, that is your portion of the map. We're going to meet where the line crosses, and we are going to have a big war. We're going to try and push you back into your base. You're going to try and push us back into our base. It's a giant game of tug of war. I liked that system a lot. Ever since Modern Warfare 3, the spawns in Call of Duty have been very sporadic. Again, constantly just flipping for no reason. Domination isn't so much about dominating the opponent anymore. It's more about just everybody constantly running around and constantly capturing flags because the spawns are always flipping. Game modes like Team Deathmatch are the exact same way, and so as a result, I'm giving the spawn system here in Black Ops 3 a C. It is chaotic, but at the same time, it is predictable. If you use certain score streaks like the UAV, the counter UAV, or even things like the Hater, it's pretty easy to learn the spawn system. That's one of the big skills for Call of Duty that I think a lot of new players don't really pick up on right away. When spawns flip, take note of that. Pay attention to how the spawn system works. That's one of the things that really separates a good Call of Duty player from a bad Call of Duty player, is always having an idea of where the opponent is going to be coming from. So if there's a big spawn flip, look at your minimap, look at the situation that you were in, and so the next time you're in that situation, you can prepare for that spawn flip. So I'm giving it a C. It's not great, but it's not terrible. It's predictable chaos. That's the best way I can describe the spawn system here in Black Ops 3, especially with the movement system. There's just a little bit extra chaos there, a little bit too much for my liking, and as a result, spawns let's get a C here in my arbitrary report card. Next up, let's go ahead and discuss downloadable content, DLC, the big elephant in the room here for Black Ops 3. Let's start things off here with paid DLC, the actual map packs themselves. So I would say the DLC was pretty good. This is mainly talking about multiplayer. You can say what you want about zombies. I'm not a big zombies fan. I really don't think I'm qualified to give an accurate report on the zombies here in Black Ops 3. I'll leave that to you guys down there in the comments. If you're a big zombies player, give us a detailed report. How did you judge all the different zombies maps as they came out, and what would you rate them? Let us know what you guys think about zombies. But for multiplayer itself, the downloadable content was pretty good. We got some great maps with the DLC this year. We got Splash, we had Gauntlet, Knockout, Spire, Berserk, Micro. These were all great maps in my own personal opinion. And what's great about DLC maps in Call of Duty is they can really go outside of the box. They can do really cool things. Like Splash, we're playing at a freaking water park. I loved that. Berserk, we're playing at like this ancient Viking village, basically. It feels like Skyrim whenever you're playing on it. I love that so much. Micro, we're basically ant-sized running around on top of like a picnic. They do really cool things with the DLC maps. This year, I think they did even more so, and as a result, I was a big fan of the DLC. We're not even talking about like map remakes here, like Outlaw, Empire, Burge, Skyjack. Like all these maps were just so good, recreating or reimagining, I should say, classic maps from prior Call of Duty games. Overall, I'm going to give DLC an A+. And I know that's high praise. I know that is super high praise, but I honestly think if you look at the DLC maps for this game, they are all pretty good. They're as good as DLC can actually be, and that's one of the problems with Call of Duty downloadable content, in my opinion, is no matter what you do, the maps themselves are kind of irrelevant to the standard maps that came based with the game. Like, you can try your best to play only in a DLC playlist, but ultimately, once they get added to the standard map rotation, you just simply don't play these maps as much as you would maybe want to. I really feel as though if maps like Splash or maybe remakes like Outlaw were actually put in the standard map rotation from the very beginning of the game's life cycle, and they were just a standard part of the game, I feel as though the vast majority of the community would like those maps and they would go down as some of the best maps in that particular game. But unfortunately, they are DLC maps, and as a result, like, you don't really get to play them as much as you probably would want to. But from what we were able to play of them, I'm going to rate the downloadable maps in this game as an A+. I really feel as though they were very good. Some of them were bad. Don't get me wrong. Some of them were bad, but for the most part, they were all pretty fun to play, and I enjoyed my experience. Now, however, it is time to discuss the other form of downloadable content here in Black Ops 3, supply drop weapons. Right from the gate, the grade is F. F- if that's possible. Is it possible? I don't think you can actually go lower than F, but since it's my arbitrary score, we're going F-, because what were they thinking with supply drop weapons? That is not a good system for anybody besides Activision or Treyarch, and even for them, it really makes them lose so much community goodwill that's probably not even good for them as well. It's good for their profit margins, bad for community goodwill, and we're gonna have to see the long-lasting effects on this if people are going to stop buying their game as a result, or if people are not going to buy DLC in protest. We're gonna have to see how that actually plays out. The black market blackout did absolutely nothing, apparently, so we're gonna have to see how that plays out. But what were they thinking with this? When supply drops first came out, they were just cosmetic things that you could get for your specialists. They were camos, they were cosmetic attachments, which I thought was actually cool. That was a really cool change to the Call of Duty franchise, is my silencer looks different than your silencer on the same weapon. I think that's a really cool system. What's not cool is when they add actual content, not cosmetic, but actual content like weapons to the game and then lock them behind a complete RNG paywall. Now, here's the thing, right? You would think to yourself, every time they add in a brand new weapon, your chances of getting a new weapon go up because there are now more weapons in supply drops. That is false, however, because every time they add in a new weapon, they add in a bunch of extra specialist gear, they add in a bunch of extra camos, a couple of new attachments, new taunts and gestures, those of course are a thing. So they keep adding in more and more things to just oversaturate the supply drop loot pool, and as a result, your chances of getting a weapon are ridiculously low. Longtime fans of my channel may remember my $300 crossbow, because during one of the black market updates where they added in a couple of new weapons, I ended up spending a bunch of money on supply drops and opening them for a video, because it just really quickly here, people get upset when you spend a bunch of money on supply drops as a YouTuber, but I think these people need to understand that as YouTubers, this is a business, and us buying supply drops and using them in a video, that is a business expense. Therefore, we write it off on our taxes, and therefore it's not a big deal for us whatsoever to spend a bunch of money on supply drops. It makes a lot of sense. For your average Call of Duty fan, it makes no sense for you to spend $300 to try and get a weapon in a video game. I mean, if you have the the disposable income, I suppose, to each his own. You're an adult, you can do whatever you want with your money, but for most people, that doesn't make a lot of sense. But for YouTubers, it does. I just want to make you guys aware of that right away, because so many people were upset that I ended up spending $300 and only got a crossbow. But I think the biggest thing here is you shouldn't be upset at me for spending money as part of my business here. You should be upset at the fact that I had to spend $300 to finally get something out of a supply drop. That is how low the drop rates actually are on the weapons in this game. It is absolutely terrible, and as a result, Treyarch, I lost a lot of my goodwill towards them. I don't want to be one of those people that says, oh, I lost all respect for you, because if you say that about someone or something, then chances are there wasn't a lot of respect to begin with. I still respect Treyarch as a studio. I really love the games that they make. Some of my best memories in gaming were on World at War, the original Black Ops, Black Ops 2, and now Black Ops 3. I love them as a studio, but they did lose a lot of my goodwill. I don't think of them as like this big prestigious company anymore, because they continued update after update to screw over their fan base by adding in more amazing looking and fun to use supply drop weapons that were completely locked behind RNG. You could not earn them. It was complete chance. And they added in some really cool ones, like updating the MP40, updating the FAMAS, adding in the M1 Grand, which I still don't have. I have spent probably well over $1,000, I think, in total on supply drops this year, and I did not get every weapon. Like, how is it? That should not be possible. That is absurd, Treyarch, and you know it's absurd. I don't know if it's Treyarch that's behind this or if it's Activision. Everyone says Activision, but who knows? Maybe it's a bit of both. I hate this system. It is stupid. It really screws over the end user, and it should not be in Call of Duty games going forward. Of course, we know it's going to be a similar system anyway. It's going to be in Infinite Warfare. We don't know if they're going to be adding in exclusive weapons to supply drops, but do you guys think they're not going to? Because I think they're going to eventually. I think it's going to be something that's going to be a part of Call of Duty going forward, because they make too much money from it anyway. Fans have tried to rebel with a black market blackout. Obviously, that didn't do anything whatsoever besides just get a bunch of people angry for no reason at each other. And overall, it's a terrible system. It's a horrible system. F minus, terrible, terrible stuff. And the last portion of this video is going to be, ladies and gentlemen, replay value. How is the replay value here on Call of Duty Black Ops 3? I think a big part of replay value would be a subcategory called innovation. What did Black Ops 3 do to innovate? What did they do to try to make the game interesting and stand out from the rest and try to get you to continue playing the game? Well, number one, of course, would be supply drop weapons. That, believe it or not, is part of the replay value. For some people, they're going to go back and play this game to earn their crypto keys, to open up a supply drop, to see if they get a new weapon. If they get a new weapon, that really, really adds to the replay value. If you are someone like me who has Dark Matter and is Prestige Master, you're kind of bored of the game. Like, you're just playing for levels at this point. There's nothing more for you to really work for besides maybe going 100% of your challenges and stuff like that. And so when you get a brand new weapon, you have this new gun to unlock Dark Matter for and do challenges for. It's a big part of replay value. So I think it's definitely important to say that supply drops are kind of part of the replay value of this game. What about specialists? I think that was actually a big innovation of this game. This was the first Call of Duty game to have specialists, and now we're going to have it in Infinite Warfare, or at least a form of it called combat rigs. We had various weapons and abilities. Some of my favorites were actually Ruin's Overdrive. I really liked Firebreak's Purifier, as does everybody. I liked Reaper's Scythe right towards the beginning of the game before they nerfed it. Now it's just okay. I don't really like it that much anymore. Overall, my favorite specialist was actually Seraph, because her Annihilator pistol was freaking amazing and so much fun to use, and Combat Focus is just brokenly OP in the right game mode. Like, I like to play Fracture, and Combat Focus breaks that game mode in my opinion. And speaking of Fracture, new game modes. I mean, we have Safeguard added to the game. We have Fracture, which I think is amazing. I don't like Safeguard. I'm gonna come out and say it right now. I really feel as though after they nerfed Safeguard, it's a terrible game mode. I don't like to play it. During the beta, it was really fun, because in the beta, you could get a lot of score streaks very easily. Everyone was getting like 100 kills in a match. It was really fun to play. And then they nerfed it, made it so basically you had to go on a 10 kill streak to get a UAV in that game mode. And as a result, it got boring very quickly. Also, I like to play Ground War. It's primarily the game mode I play. 6v6, gotta be said, guys, I get bored in 6v6. I'm half awake when I'm playing like 6v6 Dom or Kill Confirm, because nothing is happening. It's so slow paced. And so I like to go play Ground War. The problem this year is in Ground War, there are 3 game modes, and only one of them is fun, and that is Domination. So I have to suffer through Team Deathmatch after Team Deathmatch, and then Safeguard, to eventually just get to one Domination match. I hate Safeguard, and the fact that they put it in Ground War over Kill Confirm, I hate it so much. I'm not a fan whatsoever. But Fracture, I freaking love Fracture. So much fun, so fast-paced, so much score. I really enjoy that game mode, so that definitely adds to the replay value, is having game modes like Safeguard and Fracture in there, because they're new games that right now, anyway, are exclusive to Black Ops 3. And if you want to play them, you have to go back and play Black Ops 3. Now, if we're going to have a conversation on innovation, we need to include dark matter in that conversation. Dark matter adds so much replay value to the game, but it can also detract replay value from the game, and allow me to elaborate on that. So if you are somebody who is still working on dark matter, even today, the day before Infinite Warfare / Modern Warfare Remastered comes out, if you are still working on dark matter, you have a reason to go back and play Black Ops 3. You still have weapon challenges to complete, and you still have that thing to work towards, which is dark matter camo. I love that. For me personally, if I don't have something to work towards, I get very bored of that thing very, very quickly. Like, there are people out there who have fun playing games just by simply hopping on and playing. They're not trying to complete challenges. They're not trying to have a high KD, have a high win-loss, high score per minute. They're not trying to win the game. They're just playing for the fun of playing, and that's great. If that's how you have fun, all on you, man. It's a video game, whatever you want to do, however you have fun, just make sure you're actually having fun, right? But for me, I get so bored in that situation. Like, I need to be working towards something, and dark matter gave me something to work towards, and therefore I played Black Ops 3 a bunch while I was still working for dark matter. Where it goes south, however, is once you get dark matter, I ran out of things to do in Black Ops 3. Frankly, I got bored of Black Ops 3 after I achieved dark matter. At first, it was like, oh boy, I have dark matter. Now I get to use dark matter on all my favorite guns, and that was fun for a while. Then it got boring because I wasn't working towards anything. I had reached Prestige Master, and I felt like I had nothing else to work for. Now, in fairness, they did actually go ahead and make it so you have 1,000 levels of Prestige Master, which is pretty good, right? That's a lot of content. That's a lot of replay value right there. If you want to continue playing, that's definitely a check in the positives. Like, you have so much to work towards. There's 1,000 levels of Prestige Master. That'll take you freaking forever. Like, even some of the best players on YouTube, it takes them 20 days of playtime to actually be able to accomplish that, and that's for the really good players, right? So if you're somebody who's kind of middle of the road or below average, it's going to take you even longer than that. Like, it's absurd how much time it takes to get to level 1,000, so there's definitely a lot of replay value there. But for me, once I got to Prestige Master, and I got a couple hundred levels, like, I think my final level was level 206 or something like that. I'm bored of Black Ops 3 as a result, because I feel as though I'm pointlessly grinding for levels just to grind for levels. I'm not working towards anything because I have dark matter on all the weapons I want to have dark matter on. There are a couple weapons I got from DLC, like my $300 crossbow, but I just can't be asked to go ahead and do all those challenges for the crossbow. It's not fun. It feels like a grind, and if I'm grinding like that, I'm not having fun. I'm not enjoying it. So for me, the replay value was actually hurt by the fact that there was actually this peak. There was a peak for you to work towards, right? It works out really great for some people. Like, if you're working towards Prestige Master and dark matter camo, there is a ton of replay value there because you always want to work towards that thing. But for me, once I got to that peak, once I got Prestige Master, once I got dark matter camo, I felt bored. I'm like, okay, well, now I'm just playing for the sake of playing. And again, I don't have fun that way. So I'm going to give replay value in this game a B. And my own personal bias, I would give it a C, because I love dark matter. I love the fact that we have Prestige Master and all these levels, but once you reach that thing, if you actually have a peak to reach, once you reach that, you're going to get bored pretty quickly. So that's why I give it a B, but for me personally, I think it would be a C, just because I haven't been playing Black Ops 3 recently. You guys may have noticed here on my YouTube channel, how many Black Ops 3 videos have I made over the course of the past 2 or 3 months? You can probably count on 2 hands how many Black Ops 3 videos I made in that course of time, because I just simply have not been playing the game. I got tired of it. I was far more interested in things like Infinite Warfare, Modern Warfare Remastered, so on and so forth. So overall, how would I actually rate Black Ops 3? The totality of the Black Ops 3 multiplayer, not counting campaign, not counting zombies, but the multiplayer itself, how would I rate the game? I would say B+. B+ overall is what I would actually rate this game. If I had to look at it in totality, I'd say B+, and the reason why is I feel as though the maps are good, the gun balance is good, the score streaks are fun, the spawn system is iffy, the DLC is pretty great if you're counting map packs, weapon DLC, that's a whole other story, and replay value is good until you reach a certain point. Overall, I think it's a good game. Black Ops 3 was a good game. It was fun to play. People complain. You can complain about the movement system all you want, but that's part of the game, right? It's part of the system. It's part of the package. And even with the movement system, I had a lot of fun in Black Ops 3. Again, over the past couple of months, I've been bored of the game. I feel as though I've accomplished everything that I wanted to accomplish. But if you're somebody who has like 40,000 kills and has like a 2 KD and a 2-win loss and has completed every weapon challenge in the game and is Prestige Master level 200, at that point, you've done everything, right? And you can't blame the game if you get bored after doing all of those things. At that point, it's on you for going through and just blitzing through all of the game's content. But of course, at the end of the day, it is Call of Duty, and Call of Duty is a game that is very pick up and play. You can just hop on, play, and have some fun right away. And that is why, in my opinion, Black Ops 3 is a good game. When the game first came out, I said this game has the potential to be one of, if not the best Call of Duty game in the history of the franchise. And while that is very subjective, I think I still agree with myself there. I'm not going to say Black Ops 3 is the best game ever. I think that's way too subjective. If you really want to like pull out old school examples, I would say like maybe the original Black Ops in totality was like one of the best games in the franchise. Maybe Modern Warfare 2 if you look past all the bugs. Call of Duty 4 I think could certainly be in that discussion. Black Ops 2 for sure should definitely be in that discussion. But I think the movement system is what kind of takes me away from that a little bit. Like, you have to deal with the fact this game that has movement, right? You can run on walls, you can swim, which I think swimming's cool. You can do all kinds of things with the movement in this game. But ultimately, if I were to pick one Call of Duty game to play forever and ever, I'm not sure Black Ops 3 would be that game, because if I had to play one COD game forever and ever, I don't want that game to have advanced movement. That's my own personal bias. I would love to hear what you guys think about that down there in the comment section below. But ladies and gentlemen, that is going to conclude this video. The big report card, the end of the year report here on Black Ops 3. Overall, good year for Call of Duty. I really feel as though it was a pretty good year. It was a solid game. Say what you want about the movement, say what you want about supply drop weapons, but the core game itself was pretty freaking good. And Treyarch, hats off to you guys. I mean, I hate your supply drop weapons, but you guys make freaking good games. I've always loved you guys, going back from World at War to the original Black Ops and Black Ops 2, then Black Ops 3. Like, all of your games have been fantastic since I joined the series back in 2007, and I can't wait to see what you guys come up with next. I don't think it's going to be a Black Ops 4. I really don't. I think you're going to try something different. I'm looking forward to seeing what that is. Hopefully, it's an old school game. Go back to Vietnam, go back to the Cold War, go back to World War II. Do something different. Don't do futuristic again. And I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what you guys have in store. But ladies and gentlemen, that is going to conclude this video. I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. I know it was a little bit weird there. I was talking to Treyarch instead of you guys, but now I'm talking to you. I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts on Black Ops 3 down there in the comment section below. Now, remember what I said at the beginning of this video. If you enjoyed Black Ops 3, if your overall takeaway was a positive one, if you enjoyed the game for the most part throughout the game's life cycle, if you think Black Ops 3 is a good Call of Duty game, then please leave a like on this video. But alternatively, if you did not enjoy the game for whatever reason, whether it was the movement system, supply drop weapons, the fact that you could barely connect to parties half the time, whatever the problem you may have actually had with the game is, if you did not enjoy the game, if your overall takeaway was negative, then please leave a dislike on this video. I can't wait to see the like versus dislike ratio on this and see what you guys think about Black Ops 3 as a whole, now that the game's life cycle is one day away from being over. It feels very weird. But ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys all enjoyed my Black Ops 3 report card. This will probably be my final Black Ops 3 video, at least for a while, because for the foreseeable future, all I'm going to be playing is Modern Warfare Remastered, Infinite Warfare, and Battlefield 1, and those are going to be the games I focus videos on over the course of the next couple of months. I'm sure at some point I'll go back to play this game, but at least for right now, it's going to be my last time actually playing the game and my last time posting a video of it, and it feels really weird that Black Ops 3 is about to be an old Call of Duty game. Once again, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Drop me a rating wherever you guys feel the game deserves. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.